Management risk and quality risk. So we have gone through those example risk, and in today's session we will be discussing about the faults. Okay, so what kind of faults we can see in the software, and we'll discuss about improving the process. So here in this figure you can see that a typical distribution of faults for system builds through time. It is a graph which is showing you the faults. This is a pattern. When you plot the different types of faults, so you'll get one pattern. So this if you see this kind of unexpected pattern in fault detection, so it shows that there is a symptoms. It shows the symptoms of the problems which may arise in future. So if you see any of the unexpected pattern in the fault detection, it may be a symptom of problems. Okay, so next, the faultiness data in the figure 20.3 are aggregated by the severity levels. This helps in better understanding the processes. So this is the figure 20.3, which shows you the distribution of faults. So this data, what it has been shown in figure 20.3, these are aggregated by the severity levels. This shows the severity levels of the faults in the builds. The builds, in the sense, you know that it is a software increment. Okay, now once increment is ready, so then it will be given for testing and it will be released. Okay, that we call it as a build. So here for the corresponding builds, what are the faults that may be noticed or identified, they have been plotted here. These faults are aggregated by the severity levels, whether it is moderate, critical. So based on that, they have made these classification. Okay, so here you can see the total, critical, severe and moderate. So these are the severity levels of faults. So total faults, critical faults, severe faults and moderate faults. Here you can see the corresponding notations have been used for the levels of faults over there, and they have plotted that faults. Okay, so this it helps in, by doing so it is helpful in understanding the process, better understanding the process. Next, accurate classification schemata can improve monitoring and may be used in very large projects where the amount of detailed information cannot be summarized in overall data. So where there is an accurate classification schema can be used to classify these faults, it can improve the monitoring process. Okay, and it also be used in many of the large projects, very large projects where the amount of information, detailed information cannot be summarized in overall data, where you can't summarize the detailed information in many of the projects where you can't summarize the detailed information. There you can use this classification schema, which help you to improve the monitoring process. Okay, monitoring the process of that software. Okay, so next, the orthogonal defect classification, we call it as ODC. ODC, what is ODC? In the sense, it is an approach, okay, for the defect classification, we call, or the fault classification, that is orthogonal defect classification approach. It is having two main steps in it. One is the fault classification and another one is the fault analysis. So ODC, in the sense, you have to remember it is a orthogonal defect classification approach, where it is incorporating two steps in it. One is fault classification and the another one is fault analysis. So ODC, fault classification, just now I said no, it is having two steps in it. So fault classification, it is done in two phases. Okay, fault classification is done in two phases. Now first thing is when faults are detected, and second one is when they are fixed. What are the two phases in the sense? When the faults are detected, that is the first phase, and second phase is where you are fixing those faults. That is the second phase in the fault classification. At the detection phase, that is when faults are detected. No? So at the detection time, we record the each activity executed when the fault is revealed. When the fault is supposed to reveal at the detection time, we record that activity which is executed, so that the outcome of that is the fault is revealed over there. Okay, we record that activity. And coming to the fault fixing, that is when the second step, when they are fixed, that is when the faults are fixed. At the fixed time, we record the target, type, next source and age of the software. So the target, it indicates the entity that has been fixed to remove the fault. Okay, this you have to remember. ODC in the sense, it is an orthogonal defect classification approach. It is having two steps in it: fault classification and fault analysis. Coming to this first step, fault classification, it is done in two phases. One is the detection time, and another one is at the fixing time. Okay, when faults are detected and when they are fixed. So here, when they are in the sense, when faults are fixed at the detection time, what you will be doing, you will record the each activity executed when the fault is revealed. And at the fixing time, you record the target of the software, type of the software, source of the software and age of that software. Okay, so the target means it indicates the entity that has been fixed to remove that faults. You have identified the fault, right? So now in the second step, you are in the second phase, you are fixing that faults. So that is what you call it as a target. So it a target in the sense, it is an entity that has been fixed, okay, in order to remove that fault. Next, when we apply the ODC method, that is when we first apply the ODC method, we can perform some preliminary analysis using only a part of the collected information. When you are supposed to apply this orthogonal detection classification method, okay, at that time you need to perform some of the analysis process using that is based on some of the information what you have collected. They are like a distribution of fault types versus activities. What are the analysis you are supposed to perform over there? There is a distribution of fault types versus activities. And so you just observe that distribution of fault types versus activities. So in the sense, there are different quality activities that target the different quality activities target the different classes of faults. Okay, so different activities will be there which will be targeting the different classes of faults. You later study what are the classes of faults. Okay, next, distribution of triggers over time during field test. The faults which are corresponding to simple usage should arise early during the field test, while the faults corresponding to the complex usage should arise late. In both the cases, the rate of disclosure of new faults should asymptotically decrease. Here, it is about distribution of triggers over time during the field test. When you are classifying the faults, right? So the faults which are corresponding to simple usage, that should arise in the earlier stage itself. Okay, that is that they should arise early during field test itself. Next, the faults corresponding to the complex usage, they should arise in the later stage. But in both the cases, the rate of disclosure of new faults should asymptotically decrease. What is the rate of identifying the new faults will be there, no? So those rate should decrease in both the cases. Asymptotically, it should have a decrease in both of these cases. Either the fault is related to the simple usage, or it is related to the complex usage. Okay, either it may be identified in the earlier stage, or it may be identified in the later stage. So in both of the cases, the rate of disclosure, that is identification of these new faults, should asymptotically decrease. Next is age distribution over target code. Most faults should be located in a new and rewritten code. While few faults should be found in base or refixed code, since base and refixed code has already been tested and corrected. Your age distribution over target code. Know that most of the faults they will be located in the new code or in the rewritten code. You know that when you identify the faults, you will be giving it for the fixing of that faults, right, to the developer. So at that time they will rewrite the code, or they will come up with, or they may come up with a new code itself. So at that time the faults will be located in this code only, either in the new code or in the rewritten code, while a few faults should be found in the base code or refixed code. But you can see the few faults in the base code and refixed code, not in the there is a difference between rewritten and refixed. Okay, so the most of the faults they will be located in the new code and rewritten code, while few faults you can observe in the base code and refixed code. Because why? Because you have already tested it and you have corrected it. Okay, so that's why you have refixed. You have already fixed once, so once again it is being tested, and if you identify the faults, then you will be giving it for refixing, right? So that is the chances are very less here, so that you can identify few faults in the base code or the refixed code, since the base and refixed code has already been tested and corrected. Okay, next thing is distribution of fault classes over time. The proportion of missing the code faults should gradually decrease, while the percentage of extraneous faults may slowly increase, because missing functionality should be revealed with use and repaired, while the extraneous code or documentation may be produced by updates. In the sense, they are speaking about distribution of the fault classes over the time. Okay, that is the proportion of the proportion of missing code faults should gradually decrease. They are speaking about the proportion of missing code faults. So if you have missed any of the faults in the code, in the sense that proportion should gradually decrease. Why? Because the percentage of extraneous faults may slowly increase. Extraneous faults, in the sense it is like you may identify in the extraneous code, or it means extra code. Okay, what you will be adding, or it may be like for the extra documentation that may be produced in the later updates. Okay, later updates of the software. So that should it may increase, but the missing code faults should gradually decrease. Okay, that's what they are telling in this point. Next is improving the process. So so far we have discussed what are the scenarios of faults you may come across, and now improving the process, it is related. Okay, the many classes of faults that occur frequently are rooted in the process and development flaws. You can see whatever the faults you will be identifying, those classes of faults that occur in the they are rooted in the process itself. That is the main process what you will be incorporating. So in that process and in the development flaws, you can identify these different classes of faults. So the occurrence of many such faults they can be reduced by modifying the process and the environment. So how to reduce such faults, in the sense which are there in the process and development flaws? So how to reduce that, in the sense you have to modify the process, you have to change the environment, so that you can avoid such faults in the future. Okay, so that is the way. The occurrence of many such faults can be reduced by modifying the process and environment. So often focus changes in the process can lead to product improvement and significant cost reduction. That's what, when you go for improving the process, that is when you when you make changes in the process, it can lead to the product improvement. Okay, and next, you can see the significant cost reduction, what you will be incorporating in that process. For that, whatever the cost it will be leading, so that cost will also be reduced, and also you can see the improvement in the product. Okay, next, unfortunately, identifying the weak aspects of a process can be extremely difficult. You know that the faults are rooted in the process and development flaws, and once you will modify that process and environment, you can reduce those faults, and also it will be leading to the improvement of the production and reduction in the cost. But unfortunately, what happens is identifying the weak aspects in that process is a difficult one. If you identify, you can correct it, but identifying those weak aspects of the process is a difficult process. Okay, so that is improving the process. And next, as I said, you will the process in the process what you will be incorporating for the development of a software. So the faults will be rooted in that process itself and in the development flaws itself. And now, to identify those faults, you have to follow a technique that we call it as that what we will be following here, we call it as a root cause analysis, that is RCA. RCA is nothing but root cause analysis. It is a technique for identifying and eliminating the process faults. RCA, it was first developed in the nuclear power industries and later extended to the software analysis. This root cause analysis, root cause in the sense, you know that you have identified some of the faults, in the sense what is the root cause of that. If you are getting this fault, what is leading to that fault, that is a root. Okay, what is the root cause, so why it is happening, that you have to analyze. Okay, that technique we call it as the root cause analysis. So this technique is for identifying and eliminating the process faults. Not only you are identifying the fault, you are eliminating the fault. Okay, so that is about the RCA. So it was first developed in the nuclear power industries and later it was extended to the software analysis. It consists of mainly 4 steps in it. Okay, to select the significant classes of faults and to track them back to their original causes. So what are those 4 main steps, in the sense what, when, why and how. These are the 4 steps you have to remember. What is the root cause of that, when it is occurred and why it is occurred, how to eliminate it, okay, or how to resolve it. This is how you have to remember the 4 steps which you'll be having in the RCA technique. Okay, what, when, why and how. Now, what are faults? We will be discussing about the first step. Okay, that is what. What are faults? The goal of this first step is to identify a class of important fault. Here, you will be identifying the classes of important faults. Whatever the faults you will be identifying or detecting, right? So, to which class it will be falling into, that you will be identifying here. Okay, so faults are categorized by severity and kind. As I said, you need to identify the class of those faults, right? So how they will be classified, how they will be categorized, how the faults will be categorized. So they are categorized by the severity. Okay, so what kind of severity the fault is, okay, based on that, and what kind of fault is. Okay, so faults are categorized by severity and kind. Next, the severity of faults characterizes the impact of the fault on the product. The severity of the faults, it characterizes the impact of the fault on the product. So how severe the fault is, whether it is a critical, moderate, okay, likewise. So based on that severity, the impact will be there on the product. If it is a severe fault, then the impact will be less compared to critical. If it is a critical fault, then the severity is more. If the fault is moderate in the sense, then the impact will be somewhat less when compared to severe and critical faults. Okay, likewise, the severity of the faults, it characterizes the impact of the fault on the product. Although different methodologies use slightly different scales and terms, all of them identify a few standard levels which are described in the table 20.1. Here they're telling you that there are different methodologies will be used to identify these faults. Okay, that is to categorize these faults. Different scales and terms are there to categorize these faults. But in standard, there are a few standard levels where these faults will be falling into different classes. So that it is noted or described in the table 20.1. So this is the table which you can see the levels of faults. So the classification of faults, how they are classified. It is standard severity levels for RCA, that is root cause analysis. Here you can see faults they have classified into four levels: critical, severe, moderate, and cosmetic. So critical, okay, if the fault is in the critical level, in the sense what happens, so what it is. So critical in the sense, the description for that level is the product is unusable. If the fault is critical in that particular product or software, in the sense that product is unusable, you can't use that product at all. So example for that, the fault causes the program to crash. If that fault what you have identified, if that fault is causing the program to crash, in the sense, so that such type of fault we call it as a, we classify it as a critical fault, so that the product is unusable. Next type, the next class of this severity fault, the next type of the class for which the fault falls is severe. Severe in the sense some product features cannot be used and there is no workaround. So your some of the product, here the product is usable, but some of the product features cannot be used, not the entire product, but some of the features are not able to work, we can't use some of the features, in the sense then we call such fault as a severe. Okay, example for that is the fault inhibits importing files saved with a previous version of the program, and there is no way to convert files saved in the old format to the new one. They are telling, they are giving an example of the scenario where you can classify this fault in the severe category. That is, you can inhibit the importing files. Okay, you can inhibit the importing files which are saved in a previous version of the program, but you can't convert those files in the which are saved in the old format to the new format. Okay, from the old format to the new one, you can't convert, you can't make those conversion. So such type of fault, we can say it as a severe fault. That is, you are not able to use some of the feature here. Okay, so that is about severe. And the third class is that moderate. That is the third level, moderate, in the sense what happens, some product features require workarounds to use and reduce the efficiency, reliability, or convenience and usability. Here you will be able to use the features of the product, but it requires some of the workarounds to use those features, and also together with that it reduces the efficiency of the product, and it reduces the reliability, convenience and usability. In the sense, whatever the dynamic attributes are there, dynamic quality attributes are there, so those quality attributes may not work up to the mark. Okay, there is no what we say efficiency of these attributes, dynamic quality attributes. So that such faults we call it as a moderate one. Okay, so the faults inhibits the exporting in PostScript format. PostScript can be produced using the printing facility, but the process is not obvious or documented and requires extra steps. Okay, that is what a loss of efficiency and loss of usability. Okay, that's what they are telling you as an example for this moderate level of faults. And then the next level is cosmetic. So what is this cosmetic level of fault? In the sense, here it's like a minor inconvenience. You can face the inconvenience in the usage of the product. Okay, that's too minor inconvenience. So if it is of that sort, we call such fault as a cosmetic fault. Okay, so example for that is the fault limits the choice of colors for customizing the graphical interface, violating the specification but but causing only mirror inconvenience. Okay, in the sense, here come they are taking one example of the GUI, okay, graphical user interface, where it is limiting the choice of colors, okay, for customizing the GUI graphical interface, so that you are violating the specification, but it is causing the only the inconvenience, minor inconvenience in the product, okay, in the usage. So that is about cosmetic level of fault. So here we have discussed four levels of fault, that is critical, severe, moderate, and cosmetic. So these are the standard levels of faults for RCA. Okay, that is root cause analysis. You can have several classification, but in the RCA process, in the RCA approach, you are having the standard levels of faults as a four types. Okay, or four levels: critical, severe, moderate, and cosmetic. Critical in the sense the product is unusable. Okay, severe in the sense, if you are having severe fault in the sense, some of the product features cannot be used at all, and there is no workaround also to use these features. Coming to moderate level, here you can use the product features, but you need to have some workarounds to use those features. It is not like you can't use the features only, you can use those some of the features, but you need workarounds to use those features, and together with that it reduces the efficiency, reliability, and then convenience and usability of those product. Okay, that is about moderate. And cosmetic in the sense, it is like minor inconvenience you can face over there in the product. Okay, so this is about standard severity levels. Here you have to remember the ODC approach. Okay, so here this figure, it shows you the pattern where the faults have been plotted against the builds. Okay, so for the builds, what are the faults that have been identified? Here you can see the types of faults: critical, severe, moderate. Okay, so these are the, whatever the first type is there, that is the total fault. Okay, totally how many faults are there, they have plotted that also. So by looking this, you will be able to identify a pattern. When you can see an unexpected pattern in the fault detection, it may be a symptom of problems in the product. Okay, product or the software. So this accurate classification schema you can use to improve the monitoring process, and for the large projects over there. Okay, where you can't summarize the detailed information of the projects, there you can use this type of classification schema to monitor the process. And one more approach we discussed here is ODC. It is nothing but orthogonal defect classification, where you will be using this approach to classify the defects. Okay, so it is having two steps in it: fault classification and fault analysis. Fault classification, it is done in two phases: when faults are detected and when they are fixed. So faults are detected, that is at the detection time you need to record the activity executed when the fault is revealed, and at the fixing time we record the target, type, source, and age of the software. The target in the sense, it is indicating the entity that has been fixed, and that has been fixed to remove the fault. Okay, when you fix that fault, you will be able to remove that fault. Okay, so that is we call it as a entity, sorry, that entity we call it as a target. So when you first apply the ODC method, you have to perform the analysis, which we call it as a preliminary analysis, that is a primary analysis. Okay, using some of the information that you have collected, such as distribution of fault types versus the activities. You have to go through the different quality activities. So for that, what are the quality activities that they are targeting for the different classes of faults, that you have to identify and you have to distribute. And next thing is distribution of triggers over time during field test. Here you have to identify the faults which are related to the simple usage, so that those faults will be identified at the earlier stages itself during the field testing. And you have to classify the faults which are related to the complex usage of the product, so that the faults will be arised in the later stages. And one thing you have to remember, in both the cases, the rate of disclosure of new faults, it should asymptotically decrease. Okay, that you have to keep in mind. And next thing is age distribution over target code. Your where the code, where the fault is exactly located, that we'll be speaking about. In the new code and the rewritten code, the most of the faults will be located in that new code and rewritten code, while in the you can see the few faults in the base code or in the refixed code. Why? Because the reason behind this is that the base code or the refixed code, you have already tested it and you have corrected it. Okay, so that's why you are able to see very few faults in this base code or the refixed code. And next one is distribution of fault classes over time. That's what the proportion of missing code faults, it should gradually decrease. Okay, when you can see the percentage of extraneous faults, which is related to the updates. So when you have the extraneous code or extra code or the documentation, when you will be able to make it during the updates. Okay, when you are supposed to update the software or the product, at that time you will be having this extra faults. Okay, that is where you can get the extra faults. Next is improving the process. As I said you, many of the processes and development flaws itself will be having the many of the faults, many of the classes of faults, they occur frequently, and they are rooted in this process and development flaws itself. So how to remove that? In the sense, you have to modify the process and you have to change the environment. So that what happens, when you change the process, when you change the environment of that development environment of that product, it can lead to the product improvement, and together with that you can see the reduction in the cost. So you know that when you go for changing the process and develop and you are going for the changing in the environment, so you can have the advantage or benefit of that. But identifying the weak aspect in that process, if you want to change the process, you have to get to know that there is a what we say, we are able to get that faults more in this process, that you have to be able to identify. But identifying that weak aspects in the process of the process is a difficult task. Okay, so that is about improving the process. And here, to improve the process, we are having a technique, what we call it as a RCA technique. That is nothing but root cause analysis technique, where you will be using this technique for identifying the process faults and to eliminate those process faults. So it was first developed in the nuclear power industries and later it extended to the software field. Okay, that is to the software analysis. Next, it consists of 4 steps in it. That is what, when, why, and how. You will be having these steps to significant, to select the significant classes of faults and to track them back to their original causes. Okay, that is what, when, why, and how. So far we discussed about what. Okay, and in the later session we discussed about when, why, and how. So what, coming to this first step, what are faults? The here the first in the first step, the goal of the first step is to identify a class of important faults. You need to identify the what kind of fault it is. Okay, so how to classify these faults? It is done based on the severity and the kind of fault. Okay, so you are having the many classes for this classifying the faults, to group these faults. But in standard for the RCA process, we are having 4 levels: critical, severe, moderate, and cosmetic. Okay, so when the fault is critical, the product is unusable. When the fault is severe, some of the product features are unusable, means you can use the product, but some of the features you are not able to use it. Next, coming to the moderate, you can use the product, you can use the some of the features, or you can use all the features also, but for the usage of some features you need workarounds. Okay, to use some of the features, and together with that there will be a reduction in efficiency, reliability, convenience, and usability. And coming to the cosmetic level, here you can see the minor inconvenience in the usage of the product. Okay, so that is about false classes. Thank you.